14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
How do my eyebrows look, man? Oh, we're on. Episode 85 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI, 95.3 FM. Willimantic Today Facebook, WILI Radio YouTube. Let's see, the Keith C. Rice Facebook page. Spectrum 192. Plenty of platforms to watch the show, but it airs every Tuesday from 5:05 to 5:30 right here on WILI. Big thanks to our sponsor, Liberty Bank. Be community kind with 3 great local locations right across the street from the station, 679 Main Street, Willimantic. Gateway Commons, West Main Street, Willimantic. I think I know the manager of that branch. And Route 195, Mansfield. Liberty Bank, be community kind. J. Matt Rupar, if you'd be so kind, say hello to the fine folks.
Hello.
And, of course, we have a podcast sponsor for Hometown Threads. That's right. Not just Hometown Threads, but you can listen to all our wonderful talk programming and The Wayne Norman Show, of course, WILI.com. And the Hometown Threads podcast sponsor is Tripoli Pro Clean Services. So thank you to Mark Tripoli. All right, here we go. Episode 85 of Hometown Threads. 85, my goodness. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary.
All right.
And we welcome in Dan Pavone of Dan's Awards and Engraving, Mansfield Avenue, Willimantic, and welcome in, Dan.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Finally,
it. Finally,
took about 30 episodes.
Yeah. You've been bugging me for many years.
Did I reach out? I think I reached out a couple times, but it's great to finally get you in here.
Yeah, thanks.
And happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Was it Sunday?
It was Saturday. Yes.
All right. What'd you do?
We spent the day in Boston. My mom recently moved there from Vermont.
Really?
She had about 10 acres in Vermont and gave it all up to move into a high-rise in Boston.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
In fact, their apartment complex is brand new. Like, I think it opened in 2021, but they're on the 37th floor, but it's the same complex as TD Garden.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're literally
big Celtics fans? Well, they will be now.
I wouldn't say the big Celtics fans. They kind of keep an eye on it.
Okay. All right. Dan's a sports fan. Like
yes.
Celtics and Red Sox, Patriots.
And yeah. Definitely right. UConn. Patriots, I don't know about that.
No. Really?
I am a Patriots fan. But
big win on Sunday, though.
Yeah, good to see.
But, okay, well, congrats on Mom and her move, and you had a good birthday. And then Sunday I saw you and your lovely wife, Annette, singing at the 10:30 service at St. Mary.
Yes, thank
you.
You
guys have been doing that for years. What a wonderful job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've been doing it I started with her. She was the director, like I mentioned earlier, since 1994, and I started singing with the choir right after we met in 2000, so did that for 23 years, yeah.
Now, if you've never heard Dan and Annette sing in church, go ahead and I'll put you on the spot. Sing a couple verses. No, I'm kidding.
He wore me. I had to tell the story.
I should have warned you. We're going to have you sing a little. But, yeah, you and Annette do such a wonderful job. And, well, let's get into what I usually do with my guests, top of the show. We will talk a lot about Dan's Awards and Engraving at Mansfield Avenue, Willimantic. By the way, how long have you been doing that business?
I've been in business. It'll be 17 years next month.
About that.
And I've been doing the actual work since 2003, but I was doing it for NASA. Ran their trophy and engraving department, but on my own since November of 2007.
That's right. Rick Nassif, who we had out a long time ago on Hometown Threads, brought you up, and that's how you got your start in the bottom of NASA. So we'll get into that. But let's hear the Dan Pavone story. Growing up around here, and then eventually how you met Annette. I believe that was through the Wyndham Theater Guild.
Yeah.
But tell us about you, born and raised.
Yeah, right? born at Wyndham Hospital, right up the street, 1976. My parents, I think when I was born, were living on Lebanon Avenue, across the river there.
Sure.
And then we moved to Tungus Lane, right off of South Street, over the bridge here. Went to Noble School. Which is now a dorm for
That's
Eastern.
Right, yeah.
Briefly, only kindergarten, half of first grade. Then we moved to Columbia, actually, right on Cars Mills Road, so not too far, just right down the street. But yeah, went to Porter School from first through 8th grade, and then started at Wyndham High in 1990. So yeah, graduated in 94 and then went straight to UConn.
Did you play sports? Speaking of sports, you play sports?
If you call golf a sport, yeah, I play golf.
You're a golfer? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I was on the golf team for all 4 years. It was nice. I enjoyed golf, but it was a way to play at the Willamette Country Club.
I was gonna say.
For like 3 months.
Have you checked out Tim DeVivo's new high-tech Range?
I haven't been there. I've driven by. Seen it looks really nice.
Amazing.
I'd like to check it out. But yeah, I'd actually hopefully next year maybe get a membership again because it's been a long time since I played regularly. So I was down to like a 10 handicap for a while.
Look at you.
But I'm sure it's 10 times that now.
I'm one of those once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I play in the Rotary tournament, and then
Right.
I just got Marianne recently into golfing. Actually, she just hit golf balls, but she seemed to like it. So,
good.
Yeah, I don't know if Annette plays. Maybe we should all go play 9.
We could try it now. I don't think Annette's ever swung a golf club, but she might. She might. You never know.
All right, so what happened after Wyndham? I know you're involved with the arts, and you got involved with the Theater Guild. What happens to Dan Pavone after Wyndham High School?
After Wyndham High, I actually started at UConn. Believe it or not, as a biology major.
Biology.
Yeah, it was kind of my favorite class in high school. So I'm like, why not? So I declared biology. Of course, music and drama was always a huge part of my life in high school, but didn't want to major in it right away. So started as a bio major and got into the festival chorus at UConn under direction of Dr. Peter Bagley. Amazing man who unfortunately just passed earlier this year. We just had a really nice memorial concert to him last month. But and then after that first year singing, I was just really got hooked on choral music, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a music major. So I went into the music ed program. At that point at UConn, their music ed program was actually a 5-year program. So I'd already been at UConn for a year.
Wow.
My advisor tried like heck to get it done in 4 years, but it wouldn't work. So I ended up being an undergrad for 6 years, but came out with a dual bachelor degree. Taught very briefly out of UConn.
What'd you teach, music?
Taught middle school choir and general music.
Oh, middle school choir.
And just wasn't for me.
Really? What didn't you like about the teaching?
Here's the thing: when you love music, you love performing, it's one thing. I mean, teaching it, a whole different animal.
Really?
Because it turns out like the music ends up being a fraction of what you need to do as a teacher. And you know what? I developed so much more respect for teachers and teachers that stick with it, are passionate about it, because it is a tough thing to do.
And middle school is, I've never been a teacher, but it's got to be, any level can be a challenge.
Yeah,
but.
And it was. I mean, especially teaching general music, it's kind of an elective for the kids. They have
Some
to take
kids just
it.
weren't getting it. Or?
Yeah, but again, I taught, believe it or not, only for half a year out of college.
Half a year?
Half a year out of
college.
college.
Wow, and then what happened after that?
I ended up, I had worked at Willamette Brewing Company before teaching.
Oh, that's right. Now, what year was this? I think
I started there actually right after they opened up in the post office. It was 97. And I applied when they were still in the old Victorian Lady Building.
Yes, that's right.
And I remember Phil Smith, the manager, said, put in an application, but come back and see us when we make the move. And so I started working there about a month after they opened in the new place. And,
I remember you behind the bar. Yeah.
So I worked there.
You and Barry, right? Barry was back there still.
Oh, Barry, yeah, and he's still there. We just saw him the other night.
That's right.
But I enjoyed working there. Dave and Cindy were great, and I waited tables, did some managing up until I got the teaching job in the fall of 2000. But when things were not going great there, I actually reached out to Dave and Cindy again, and they welcomed me back with open arms.
So you went back for round 2?
I went back for 2 years. Then I ended up at Hops Restaurant in Manchester, thinking maybe I could work days and make better tips.
So you were really involved in the restaurant industry.
I actually started at Kentucky Fried Chicken, believe it or not. I worked there in high school, so...
Okay, my dad got me a 3-day trial shift there just to see if I'd like it better than radio.
Oh, yeah?
When I was like 17.
How did that go?
That was a story. On day 2, I said, with all due respect to the people here at KFC,
right.
Dad, I don't want to do this, please. I don't know what his point was.
Oh, I know. I actually enjoyed that job. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot.
I have a whole respect for people that do work behind the counter. You got to be working with the public and customer service. So there's a lot of. I have a lot of respect for that.
Oh,
for
absolutely,
the restaurant industry.
Absolutely. So I went back to Main Street for a while, and then ended up getting my job at Nassau's. So. Main Street then to Hops in Manchester, but that was brief.
Hops to Nassau's.
And then Hops to Nassau's. They had an opening on their retail floor as a manager.
And this is where Nassau's it all begins, as far as
that's where my business began. That's where it got its roots. So,
But it didn't like right away. You get hired at NASA's. Rick is still there, right?
Mhm.
Now
Yep.
this is what early 2000s.
I started in NASA. It would have been end of the summer in 02.
Okay, so we're in summer of 02.
Mm-hmm.
You're working downstairs at NASA's.
No, at that point, I got hired actually as a retail manager.
Oh, the
so
retail
on the
manager.
first floor.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're on the first floor.
Yep.
Worked your way up.
Yeah. No, it was cause actually, Rick would appreciate this story. I don't know if he remembers this, but my interview when I went in, I interviewed with the manager first, and then I had a second interview with Rick. And Rick asked me, he goes, we're up in his office. He goes, do you ski? I said, no. And his response was he looked at me and smiled and he said, you will.
That's right, because that was a big part of their business.
Yeah, they were a ski shop. That was a big part of it. And
did you end up skiing?
I did. Well, not only did I have to learn how to ski, they put me in charge of the ski trips. Because
that's right. I think I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, they had four ski trips a year, December through March. Once a month, we would go to different mountains in Vermont and Massachusetts. And I remember the very first trip I went to Killington. So it was kind of funny because here I am running this trip, acting like I knew what I was talking about.
You were running the actual bus trips,
right?
And all
Right.
That?
I was in charge of putting it together, calling the bus company, getting people to sign up. But the very first trip I went there, took a lesson, and I enjoyed it.
Learn how to snowplow. That's how you stop.
Yeah, it's a little V.
That's it. Hey, that's how I learned.
But no, I enjoyed it though. I really enjoyed it. But it was a lot to learn on the retail floor for NASA's because they just did. I mean, skiing was a big part of it. They did a lot of sneakers.
Of course.
I mean, there was a lot of skateboarding was another big thing.
That's right.
A lot of things that I didn't know about. So it was a learning curve. Having to.
And they had a lot of employees there.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You were one of probably, I'm guessing, 20 or something.
Oh yeah, I would say. I mean, they had probably 5 or 6 people upstairs working in the office. But
was it 3 levels, right?
Yeah. Well, the upstairs was strictly just the office, Rick's office, and then people doing bookkeeping.
God, I
and
missed
stuff.
that place.
Yeah,
NASA's such a big deal on Main Street.
Hey, and Rick, if you're out there listening, I owe so much to you guys. I really do.
He's in the real estate world now.
I know.
Doing a great job.
Yeah.
Hello to Rick Nassif.
Hello.
So that's how the business. Oh, before we get into the business,
yes.
I'm so excited. You got to tell. I think Annette has told me this before, but share the Dan Annette story. How you guys met, because everyone knows you. Like as a pair, because not just from church, but you guys are well known in town.
Oh, well, thank you.
Tell the story.
Well, actually, I got involved with Wyndham Theater Guild. First show I ever did was right out of college. We did Oklahoma, so that was the first show.
Oh, you've done a lot of shows with theater.
And then I did Guys and Dolls. I did. I'm blanking out here. What did we do in '96? Jesus Christ Superstar.
What's my aunt like to work with, by the way? Be honest.
Robin.
Yes, come on, be honest.
Rough, no. I love you, Rob. I couldn't ever say anything bad about Robin Rice.
Wait till the mics and the cameras go off. No, I'm kidding.
No, Robin's great. Actually, the first show I did with her was Guys and Dolls. She was Adelaide. I played one of the gamblers, but yeah, I love Robin. Robin's wonderful. So I did a few shows, but then the summer of 2000, they did The Sound of Music, and I auditioned. At this point, I was only 23 years old, so I was pretty young.
Wow.
I was a baby, yeah, not anymore. But so we did Sound of Music summer 2000. I auditioned for that, and I guess the process to audition Maria and all the kids was they did that. That was a much longer thing they did ahead of the auditions for all the other characters. So that took them a while, because you imagine having to find 7 kids to play, and it's tough. So they had already cast the kids and Maria at that point. So I auditioned, but I remember at my audition, we had to do some improvisation, and actually even before the improvisation, I will say we had to do a singing audition. And the very first thing I ever said to my future wife was singing a song together. The very first thing we ever did was sing a song. And probably after saying hello, nice to meet you, but
singing a song together, like looking at each other.
Yes, we did. We did one of the duets from the show, just a snippet of it, but they wanted to hear our voices. So even before we acted any scenes or did any improv, we sang together. So
the magic was already.
Our very first experience was singing.
What was the song again?
Oh gosh!
Oh come on, Dan!
It wasn't. Well, the big duet they do is Something Good. That's near the end of the show, but it wasn't that. It
Damn.
was. Oh God! I know I'm blanking out.
Oh my God!
Annette, don't hate me.
You should know this.
I just know it was
something
from Act 1. I remember from Act 1. But yeah, so we sang together first, and then did some improv, and then I got the call from Victor Funderburg, wonderful director of the guild, that I got the part. So I actually was going away to England literally the next day. I got offered the part. After we sang, after I got the part, I told Victor, just so you know, I'm leaving for almost 2 weeks. My mom lived in England at the time.
She did?
Yeah, she went over there. Was there for about 2 years. Got to take 2 trips, which was nice.
Wow.
So I was in England at the first 2 weeks of rehearsal. So I had actually my friend Eric, who played Rolf in Sound of Music, he filled in for me at rehearsals for the first 2 weeks.
And you were studying your lines in England?
Actually, I totally was. I took the time. I brought the CD of the show. I brought my script.
Look at you, studying on the road.
Hey, it was the flight over there was
you had plenty of time.
7-8 hours. So. No, so that was good. But yeah, so we met.
You met during.
We met. I was dating someone else at the time. I won't go into those details.
Nah, we don't need that.
But yeah, we really did hit it off.
That's great.
Doing the show, it was great, and started dating actually about a few weeks after the show ended.
Surprised you guys ended up getting married in the Wyndham Theater.
We got married in the show. We always like to say that we got married before we started dating because the characters.
How about that? What a story.
And we've been singing together ever since.
That is fantastic. Yeah, including if you ever want to see them in action, usually it's how many times a month at St. Mary's?
It varies. I mean, we're usually at St. Mary's at least 2 times,
right,
2 Sundays a month.
Check in a couple times a month.
And at St. Joseph's on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. I forget because
that's about once a month.
So I meant to ask you if you do St. Joe's. So once in a while, St. Joe's on a Saturday at 4, and I'm plugging your church appearances here too.
There we go.
And 10:30 St. Mary's a couple times a month, Corpus Christi.
Absolutely.
So, all right, so let's get to it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we're here, not only to get a lot of people know Dan and Annette Pavone too. Dan's Awards and Engraving, 39 Mansfield Avenue, Willimantic.
Yes.
In business for 17 years.
Yes.
I know the folks who are listening on the radio won't be able to see us, but you can go back and watch the show on many platforms, including Willimantic Today, Keith C. Rice, WILI Radio, YouTube, and all that. But Dan, for the people that are watching, you can go back and watch. Why don't you show what you brought? Little show and tell here.
Little show and tell. Well, I just brought kind of a little representation of stuff that I do. Obviously, when you think of my business, a lot of people think trophies, So I can custom make trophies. I make them to order. I mean, there's a lot of pre-assembled options also, but I can make any trophy to order, whatever you can think of. These are actually from Little T Speedway. I don't know if you've heard of them from in Thompson.
Oh, nice.
I've had their account for the last 5 years.
Wow.
It's young kids driving, so they've been a great account over the years. It's football time, so you got your fantasy football. There's your Lombardi.
Fantasy football trophies. I'm going to keep you in mind for this.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot. And you can go to my website, Dan's Awards and Engraving, or email me anytime. I can always send you catalogs.
Dan's and Awards
Engraving? Well, it's dansawards.com.
Dansawards.com.
That's my website. If you have any issues with catalog links, just email me and I'll send it. You know how the computer is. Sometimes But yeah, so that's a lot. I can do that. So the big thing these days are these resin trophies. That's what this is. That's your nice basketball resin. I just started working with a vendor called PDU, and actually discovered them in Las Vegas, which is kind of funny. Yeah. I went to my trade show for the first time ever in last February in 2023. They have it every year in Vegas, Awards and Personalization Association, and finally got out to it last year.
Very good.
So, and that honestly, that was like one of the best things to come out of that was meeting these people and getting an account with them, because they do some really nice resin awards. So yeah, there's your basketball, but they have pretty much every sport, academic themed stuff. We have your normal plaques that I do. That's a very standard, black brass plaque.
Look at that.
Yeah, did that for.
Congrats to Emma.
What's that?
So congrats to Emma Manning.
That's right.
What was that award for there?
That was for NACA Northeast Everyday Hero Award. Nice. I don't even know why this became a sample. Oh, it has a scratch on it. See, that's what, I'm very picky. If anything's scratched, I'm redoing it on my cost. So, in fact, it's fun because I've had customers come to me that said, "We ordered online, and look what we got," and things will be all scratched. Like, you got to do it in person.
That's right, exactly.
So,
then you got another plaque.
Well, this is like acrylic. Acrylic is another big thing that I do a lot of. This one was for UConn men's ice hockey. You can see the Husky on there. So I engraved that quite a bit.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice. So yeah, acrylic is really nice. There's a lot of corporate type acrylics that I can do. So just also going into the holidays. That's
You did the Griswold family Christmas?
Did not. I had to
Clark Griswold?
I had to do a sip. My family got a kick out of this because we love this movie, The Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
But this is just an example of an engraved frame. I stole the Griswold family Christmas. Sorry, I had to. But that's a great gift idea for the holidays. You know, engrave a frame. Even if you want to do a family photo, you want to do your children for the grandparents, or engrave. We can do logos, anything you really want to do.
I got my favorite Uncle Lewis at the end.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Hey,
there
Grace,
he
you
is.
come here a dump truck. Come and do a nitroglycerin plant.
Anyway, that's good.
God bless it.
God bless you.
I could go on and on.
So those are engraved items that I've been doing, you know, pretty much since day one. So, you know, that definitely keeps me going. Yukon and Eastern do a lot of the acrylic.
So Yukon and Eastern are on board a lot?
A lot of the local schools. I do all the local schools, you know, trophies. And, again, the resins are really, really nice. But actually just last, beginning of last year, I finally invested in a heat press. And actually just recently a mug press. So basically what that's allowing me to do is full color graphics on things. So it's called sublimation, where you're actually printing out a reverse transfer color and pressing things on images.
I was
So,
about to ask you, how do you do all this stuff?
yeah, I will. So there's, you know, you can do things like full color mugs. I have no idea who that family is. I pulled them from an iStock photo. So if you know who you are, there you go. So you can do full color graphics on mugs. So this basically the sublimation process is, you know, most of the sublimation items all have this white substrate, and you're literally printing out on a special ink, reverse transfer, and then you heat press. You press it on. Now, some people might think it's, you know, iron-on. You remember the old iron-ons that you can scratch right off?
Right.
But this technology that is not. I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs of the technology behind it, but I do know that it becomes a permanent part of your item, which is nice, especially for things like mugs. You throw them in the dishwasher. You know, things aren't coming off. So
how'd you learn how to do? Go ahead. What are you going to show us?
This was the other, something like a graphic plaque. You know, a lot of this is just a team plaque I did for Ram youth football and cheerleading.
Look at that.
So
Nice.
you know, and again, this is pressed right onto the. I don't know if things are in the way here, but you know, pressed right onto the metal. So you can do that. You can do a full color, you know, graphic team photo if you want. You can superimpose wording on it. It's good for any sports team. You know, things like that. So.
How did you learn how to do like this? The engraving, the statue, or what am I calling it?
That's okay.
The trophies and stuff.
Well, the trophy actually. Well, yeah. I mean, the
you learned
resins.
all this stuff at NASA's too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I learned it all at NASA's.
Did Rick show you?
Rick did help a little bit. The main training I had was actually from two people. One was Becky. Again, blanking on her last name right now. Becky Chase was her name, but she actually trained me initially. But because she was the one that was doing it. Not right before me, but she had done it, and she was still there. When the time they hired me, she was the only one there that had done that work, so she helped me out for a while. But a gentleman by the name of Dave Belt, older gentleman that had done the engraving and trophy department at NASA's for years. In fact, he did it all on the old hand engraving machine back when, you know, you were literally tracing all the letters, but he spent about a month with me training.
So how many years into NASA's and doing this when you finally said, you know, I'd like to go out on my own?
You know, it's funny because I'd always thought, you know, I always enjoyed the work. I really enjoyed it. It's creative. It's something different every day, you know, which keeps you going. You know, it's not the same thing. And then you'll get new customers in that
and
want
people know
something
you.
new.
You grew up in this area, so people know you.
Yeah. But so I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? So I learned pretty quickly. It wasn't that hard to learn, but after Dave taught me, I just kind of went with it and learned in turn of like trophies. I actually taught myself how to make them. You know, a lot of just taking advantage of online. Yeah. And but you know, a lot of the stuff comes as is. But I do all the engraving in house. So everything I do is in house.
And you've always, when you left, you've always been at 39 Mansfield Avenue.
No, I actually started on North Street, right behind NASA's.
Okay.
Where Zock's Homebrew is and Bob Fitzgerald, the lawyer. I was the business on the right, which is now I think a barbershop.
All right.
But
how many years were you on North Street?
I was there from when I started, so end of 2007 to February of 2012.
Okay.
So just about 4.5 years.
And then you found the place on Mansfield Avenue?
Yep, found that place, which was nice. I mean, the North Street worked well for the first few years. I just needed a little bigger space. I could use more space now, but location-wise, this has really worked out well. For me.
Definitely.
It's very visible.
Now, is there anything else you want to push holiday-wise?
For holiday, I mean, I showed you the frame. We can do that. I can also do custom ornaments. Again, there's your nice little puppy with the Santa hat.
Look at that.
So, but again, again, this is just a stock photo I found online, but any picture you want to incorporate, you can do. Turn it into an ornament for the grandparents, for the parents, for whoever. Any picture, I can put wording on these. A lot of different shapes. This is just a round, but they have Christmas tree shapes. There's just a lot out there. And it's not just ornaments. There's a lot of things you can do.
You find yourself coming up with newer ideas every day?
Trying to. I mean, I'll be honest, this is actually the first year I'm really trying to push the giftware. Believe it or not, Christmas was always a slower time for me, which wasn't bad because we had a lot going on at church. But I'm like, there's so much giftware, there's so much stuff out there, and I can do the full color.
A lot of great holiday stuff. Dan's Awards and Engraving. So this is the first year of the holiday line, I guess you can say, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been able to do it for a couple of years. The first time I'm trying to, really put it out there, and hopefully people can come in and take a look at what's available for the holidays.
DansAwards.com.
DansAwards.com.
So if you got anything creative you want to throw at Dan for the holidays, go see him, 39 Mansfield Avenue, Willimantic. Mm-hmm. Let's see, is there anything? I want to ask you.
Yeah.
I always ask my guests this towards the end. Is there anyone you want to shout out, give love to, who's really been a big part of your journey here?
Well, first off, I think I already mentioned Rick, giving me the opportunity to have a job at NASA's, which is what started me. I had no, and the funny thing is, I worked retail, and when they ended up, one of the managers came back up to the retail floor, so I was sort of the odd man out, but Rick didn't want to lose me. He offered me the job in the trophy department. And at first I was like, is that something I really want to do? Which is, but when I look back on that moment, I remember talking to my wife that night. I was scared. I'm like, do I really want to do that? Should I do something? I agreed to do it, and if it wasn't for that moment, I wouldn't have this business. Wow. And of course, my customers, UConn Eastern, all my local schools, you guys keep me going. Thank you. And of course, my family, my wife, my kids, they
Very nice.
support me.
Off the top of your head, what's your longest running sponsor? Off the top of your head, I have a lot of them.
In terms of customers,
I mean customers. Yes, customers.
It would have to be my UConn people.
Yeah.
I mean, because I started out. I mean, UConn's branched out. I mean, it's not just one account. I mean, I do hundreds and hundreds of different departments, a lot of the sports. But yeah, UConn's really been good to me. They really have been good to me. Again, not to diminish anything from my other people. I love you too.
He does great work. Dan's Awards and Engraving, 39 Mansfield Avenue, Willimantic. Again, dansawards.com. You're on Facebook, I take it.
I am on Facebook, yep.
Okay, how do they find you? Dan Pavone? Or
just search Awards? Dan's Awards. I'm sure you'll come up.
Yeah, if you punch in Dan's Awards, it'll come up.
I can give you the phone number. It's 860-450-1764.
860-450-1764. Okay, and again, if you're listening to this on the radio, that's great. We appreciate that. But you can go back and watch it on WILI Radio, YouTube, Willimantic Today, Facebook, Keith C. Rice Facebook page. It'll be all over. And of course, you could probably find Dan on Facebook as well, along with Dan's Awards. Mm-hmm. So,
thank you, sir.
Keep up the great work.
Oh, thanks, Keith.
Dan Pavone, episode 85, Hometown Threads. Big thanks to Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. Thank you to J. Matt Rupar. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And in the words of the great Roddy McCumber,
bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice. Or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.